WWE just crossed the line, and I'm not talking about crossed the line in a good way. I'm talking about the kind of line that could end a career, that could destroy a legacy, and that could fundamentally change the entire landscape of professional wrestling as we know it. Roman Reigns, the man who has carried this company on his back for 4 years, the tribal chief, the undisputed champion, the head of the table, is now sitting in a hospital bed with broken ribs because WWE's creative team thought it would be a brilliant idea to have Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed absolutely demolish him in what can only be described as a reckless, irresponsible, and downright dangerous beatdown that went too far. And before you start typing, "It's just a work" or "wrestling is fake," let me stop you right there. Because this injury is real. The medical reports are real. The fact that Roman Reigns had to be transported to a local medical facility immediately after SmackDown is real. And the possibility that we might never see the tribal chief at full capacity again? That's very real too. Let me paint the picture for you because clearly WWE is trying to bury this story as fast as humanly possible. Last Friday on SmackDown, in what was supposed to be a routine segment building toward the Royal Rumble, Roman Reigns came out to cut a promo. Standard tribal chief business. He was talking about his legacy, about how nobody in WWE can touch him, about how he's beaten everyone they've put in front of him. Classic Roman. The crowd was eating it up. Some were cheering, some were booing, but everyone was invested. And then it happened. Braun Breaker's music hit. Now, for those of you who don't know, Braun Breaker is WWE's latest golden boy. He's young, he's jacked, he's got the pedigree being a Steiner, and WWE has been desperately trying to make him the next big thing. He came storming down that ramp with the intensity of a man possessed, slid into the ring, and before Roman could even react, he hit him with a devastating spear that you could hear echo throughout the entire arena. Roman went down hard. And that should have been it. That should have been the angle. Young Lion makes a statement against the veteran champion. It's Wrestling 101. You establish the new threat, you get people talking, and you move on to building the actual feud. But no. WWE decided that wasn't enough. Because then Bronson Reed's music hit. Bronson Reed. The 330-pound monster who has made a career out of absolutely destroying people. The man whose finishing move, that tsunami splash from the top rope, has legitimately injured multiple wrestlers. And he came to the ring with one purpose: complete and total annihilation. What happened next was sickening, and I mean that literally. People in the arena were gasping. Social media immediately exploded with concern, because what we witnessed wasn't wrestling, it wasn't sports entertainment, it was a mugging. It was two men, combined weight of over 600 pounds, systematically breaking down a human being while referees stood by and did nothing. Braun Breaker hit Roman with not one, not two, but 3 consecutive spears, each one more vicious than the last. Each one driving Roman's body into the canvas with such force that you could see the ring shaking. Roman was trying to get up, trying to fight back, but he was outnumbered and outmatched. And then Bronson Reed climbed to the top rope. Now, if you've never seen a Bronson Reed tsunami splash, let me explain what happens. A 330-pound man jumps from the top rope and drops his entire body weight onto his opponent's torso. The impact is devastating under normal circumstances. It knocks the wind out of you. It compresses your organs. It's one of the most dangerous moves in all of professional wrestling when executed on a fresh opponent. But Roman Reigns wasn't fresh. He'd already taken 3 spears. His body was compromised. His ribs were already taking damage. And WWE let Bronson Reed hit him with not 1, but 4 tsunami splashes. 1,320 pounds of force crashing down on Roman Reigns' ribcage 4 separate times while he lay defenseless in the middle of the ring. The first splash landed. The crowd popped because they thought this was just going to be a standard beatdown. The second splash hit. Some people in the arena started to get uncomfortable. You could hear the concern in the commentary team's voices. The third splash connected, and Roman screamed. Not a worked scream. Not a performance scream. A legitimate cry of pain that made everyone watching realize something was wrong. But they didn't stop. Bronson Reed climbed up for a 4th time. Paul Heyman was on the outside of the ring begging them to stop. The Usos' music should have hit right there. Anyone should have made the save. But nobody came. And that 4th splash landed with such force that Roman's body went completely limp. Medical staff immediately rushed to the ring. The show went to a commercial break, which is never a good sign. When they came back, Roman was being carefully placed on a stretcher. He couldn't move. He couldn't even sit up because the pain in his ribs was so severe. They wheeled him out of the arena to a chorus of Roman chants from a genuinely concerned audience, and he was transported directly to a local medical facility. Now here's where WWE's negligence becomes absolutely inexcusable. Multiple sources, and I'm talking about people who work in that medical facility, have confirmed that Roman Reigns suffered multiple fractured ribs. Not bruised. Not slightly injured. Fractured. Broken bones. The kind of injury that requires months of recovery. The kind of injury that could have punctured a lung if things had gone just slightly differently. Do you understand the severity of what I'm telling you? Roman Reigns could have died on national television, in front of millions of viewers, because WWE wanted to make Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed look dominant, because they thought 4 tsunami splashes would make for good television, because they prioritized a moment over the actual health and safety of their top star. And you want to know the worst part? WWE knew this was going to happen. This wasn't some shoot gone wrong. This wasn't an accident or a botch. This beatdown was planned. It was approved by WWE management. Triple H himself signed off on this segment. Someone in the back looked at this layout, saw Bronson Reed hits 4 consecutive tsunami splashes on Roman Reigns, and said, "Yes, that's perfectly safe, let's do it." Are you kidding me right now? There are rules in professional wrestling. There are protocols. You protect your opponent. You protect yourself. And above all else, you protect the top guy. Because Roman Reigns isn't just another wrestler on the roster. He's the franchise. He's the man who sells the tickets, moves the merchandise, and draws the ratings. He's the reason WWE's television deals are worth billions of dollars. And they let 2 guys who are still learning their craft put him in a position where he could have been permanently injured. Let's talk about Braun Breaker for a second. Yes, he's talented. Yes, he's got potential. But he's also reckless. Go back and watch his matches in NXT. Go back and watch his matches on the main roster. There's a pattern of him working stiff, of him not pulling his punches, of him being just a little too aggressive for his own good. And WWE, instead of pulling him aside and teaching him how to protect his opponents, they reward this behavior by putting him in a segment with their top star. And Bronson Reed? Don't even get me started on Bronson Reed. The man is 330 pounds doing top rope moves. Do you know how insane that is? Do you know how much damage that does to the human body? There's a reason why super heavyweight wrestlers traditionally stayed on the mat. Because physics doesn't care about your storyline. When you drop that much weight from that height onto someone's torso, you're not working, you're legitimately hurting them. But WWE doesn't care about physics. They don't care about long-term health. They care about Twitter trends and social media buzz. They care about creating viral moments that people will talk about, regardless of the actual cost to their performers. And let's address the elephant in the room. This isn't the first time WWE has put Roman Reigns in dangerous situations. This is the same company that worked him through leukemia. The same company that had him wrestling full-time during a global pandemic. The same company that's put him through thousands of matches over the past 4 years without giving him any significant time off. Roman's body is already compromised. His health has already been tested. And they still thought it was appropriate to have 2 monsters beat him down to the point of actual injury. The wrestling community is in shock right now. Former wrestlers, current wrestlers, industry insiders, everyone is questioning how this was allowed to happen. Mick Foley, who literally ended his career because of the punishment he took, tweeted that this beatdown crossed a line. Stone Cold Steve Austin, on his podcast, said he was genuinely concerned watching it happen. These are legends of the business who have seen everything, and they're telling you this was too much. But you want to know who isn't talking? WWE. They released a brief statement saying Roman is receiving medical attention and that they'll provide updates as appropriate. That's it. No apology. No acknowledgement that maybe, just maybe, they went too far. No promise that they'll evaluate their safety protocols going forward. Just corporate speak designed to minimize the situation and move on as quickly as possible. Here's what this means for the immediate future of WWE. Roman Reigns was scheduled to defend his title at the Royal Rumble. That's obviously not happening now. He was supposed to be part of the WrestleMania main event. Depending on the severity of these rib injuries, that might not happen either. The entire road to WrestleMania has been derailed because WWE wanted to get 2 midcard guys over in one segment. Think about that. Think about how short-sighted that decision was. You sacrifice months of storytelling, you sacrifice your biggest draw, you sacrifice the health and safety of your top champion, all for what? So Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed can get a pop on SmackDown? So you can have a shocking moment that people talk about for a week before moving on? And let's talk about what this does to the locker room morale. If WWE is willing to let this happen to Roman Reigns, the most protected guy on the entire roster, what does that mean for everyone else? What does that mean for the younger talent who doesn't have Roman's stroke? What does that mean for the wrestlers who are already worried about their safety every time they step through those ropes? It creates a culture of fear. It creates an environment where wrestlers are afraid to speak up when something feels unsafe because they know management will prioritize the moment over their well-being. It tells everyone in that locker room that they're expendable, that their health doesn't matter as long as WWE gets their content. And the fans. Let's talk about what this does to the fans. We watch wrestling to be entertained, not to witness actual injuries. We want to see compelling storylines and athletic performances, not genuine suffering. When you blur that line too much, when you make it impossible to tell the difference between a work and a shoot, you lose your audience. Because nobody wants to feel complicit in someone getting hurt. Social media has been exploding with criticism since this happened. The hashtag #ProtectRoman was trending worldwide. Fans are demanding answers. They're demanding accountability. They want to know how this was allowed to happen and what WWE is going to do to make sure it never happens again. But here's what I think is really going on. I think WWE saw the success of violent, realistic beatdowns in other promotions and decided they needed to keep up. I think they looked at what's happening in AEW, in NJPW, in the independent scene, and they panicked. They decided that their product was too safe, too sanitized, and they needed to push the boundaries to stay relevant. But there's a difference between working snug and working reckless. There's a difference between creating the illusion of violence and actually hurting people. The best wrestlers in the world understand that distinction. They know how to make it look devastating without causing actual damage. But WWE, in their infinite wisdom, decided to throw that out the window in pursuit of realism. You know what the really infuriating part is? This injury was avoidable. Completely and totally avoidable. If they had stopped at one tsunami splash, Roman would be fine. If they had Roman's faction make the save after the spears, he'd be fine. If they had used literally any common sense in planning this segment, Roman would be fine. But they didn't. They went for overkill, literally, and now we're all paying the price. So what happens now? WWE will probably strip Roman of the title due to injury. They'll put it on someone else, probably Cody Rhodes or whoever they're building up next. They'll move forward with their Royal Rumble plans like this never happened. And in 6 months, when Roman's ribs are healed and he's ready to come back, they'll act like this whole situation was just part of the story. But we won't forget. We can't forget. Because this isn't just about Roman Reigns. This is about the precedent it sets. This is about WWE thinking it's acceptable to put their performers in genuinely dangerous situations for the sake of entertainment. This is about them prioritizing short-term gains over long-term consequences. Roman Reigns is sitting in a hospital right now with broken ribs because WWE failed him. They failed in their duty to protect their performers. They failed in their responsibility to put on a safe show. They failed the fans who trusted them to deliver entertainment without actual harm. And the question you need to ask yourself is, are you going to hold them accountable? Or are you going to keep watching, keep supporting, keep buying tickets and merchandise while they continue to put wrestlers in danger? Because I'm telling you right now, if we don't make noise about this, if we don't demand better, this will happen again. Maybe not to Roman. Maybe to someone younger, someone less established, someone who doesn't have the political capital to refuse unsafe spots. And when it does, it'll be our fault for not speaking up when we had the chance. Comment below. Share this video. Let WWE know that this is unacceptable. That we demand accountability. That we won't stand by while they sacrifice the health and safety of their performers for viral moments and social media buzz. Roman Reigns deserved better. The wrestling business deserves better. And we, as fans, deserve better than this.